Am I live? Am I audible? That's a little bit of a problem that I don't know if I'm audible or not. How do I check if I'm audible? Do I bring the mic close? Okay. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, man. What is the mic? Okay, I can mute it. I can share the screen. Hello. Am I live? Okay, I'm live. I should be live. Am I clear? Most importantly, is this a good setup? I don't have my light isn't working. I'll just try and illuminate. Okay, this is better. This is a little bit better, and this I reckon this you can work with. Okay, considering the fact that nobody's going to be watching my stream, I'm just going to be yapping to myself, practice my storytelling and all of that. This should be enough. I'll maybe check my stream live. I'll check it live on my own channel, something like that. Let's see. Okay, I'll go here. Am I even subscribed to myself? Live. Oh, come. Oh, no, no, no. How do I check if I'm live on my own YouTube? I am not. Okay. What is this? Is this a different channel that I've gone live with? No way. Oh no, it's the same channel that I'm with. Anyways, anyways, it's about time I start to provide some value to all the people watching, or the people watching in the future. I'm actually pretty impressed with the webcam, and I'm also very glad that. What am I glad about? I'm glad that I just got this up and running, so now I can work on layers. Nobody's watching me, obviously, but how do I check? How do I check? I'll ask ChatGPT, by the way. I'm just asking ChatGPT. How do I check my mic is properly working on YouTube? My head. I mean, the camera. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. You tell her you do webcam card. How do I check, bro? Manage. You don't have access to this feature. What is this? It's a pop-out dashboard. It's the channel level settings. What is this? Video Brave. Learning to speak better live on chat, right? Okay, that's useless. And okay, just like that, I'm streaming. So what do I want to do today? Like the title says, I'm going to learn to speak better. So I'm going to try and improve my storytelling skill, and I'm going to do it abruptly. Okay, I'm just going to do it impromptu, just like this, right in front of you. This is supposed to be in public, but maybe someday we'll get there. Okay, I'll actually get to public and I'll practice stuff, and that practice might even turn to something serious down the line. Who knows? Anyways, so there's this whole exercise that I heard about from a creator that I followed, and it's about storytelling, because that creator, specifically that creator, speaks amazing stories. Okay, he speaks such good stories that I connected to him and stayed with his content, so to speak, for years and years, while I did not make any purchase from that. So but the amount of value that he provided me for free, completely free, is just crazy. So that's where I got this idea of this exercise from. And the idea is essentially that in order to improve your storytelling skills, what you need to do is that you need to narrate stories to yourself every day. Just practice creating stories out of thin air in your everyday life. It doesn't have to be out of thin air. I mean, it has to be something that actually happened to you that day or this particular day. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to talk about something that has happened today. So as I practice and try and get better with storytelling, just in general, talking, speaking, communication, one thing I've observed is that take a lot of pauses. And as I take those pauses, what I've noticed is that people open up much more to me. And an added advantage is that it gives me the time to process things, to make thoughts, to process what they are saying, to empathize with them. And it also prevents me when I'm actually taking a pause, I'm thinking about what it is that they have to say. There's so many advantages. Some of them being that you are listening to them, you're actually actively trying to solve their problem, you're trying to help them, and they are going to perceive you as this problem solver as you do that, as you listen to them. So that's one advantage, that you're going to appear to them as literally their savior. Okay, they're going to get help from you because you are listening to them, and listening heals. Okay, people these days are impatient, they need people that can listen to them without giving them advice, without in return just expecting anything. Just listen to people, and that is so good for communication. So I'm coming back to my story. My story is that today, and this happened yesterday as well, but today I'll talk about the scenario from today. I was just listening, okay, as a part of this entire exercise. I've been trying to listen more, and to improve my communication, I've been trying to pause more. And as I have paused more, I've noticed that I've had much more reflective and depthful conversations with my mother. And that's amazing. Even if that does not amount to anything materialistic, but just the value that I got from listening to my mother speak is brilliant. It's just insane. I cannot even express in words the feelings that it gives me to just be able to listen to my mother very attentively, to listen to what it is that she has to say. And today she was talking, we were basically gossiping, and she was talking to me and telling me about how first when we got here, basically in this home, and when we shifted, there was this particular gossip about a particular neighbor, and what were the actions that I did, what used to happen. We were recounting the memories of what it is like, what it was like back then. And it is just crazy. There's this connection that makes, and you are basically bonding with your family, and the value of that is just something that you cannot compare with anything. And that is the power that communication gives you. If you're not going to be getting good at communication, this is what you're going to miss out on. You're not going to pause, and you're not going to give people the platform, or you're not going to give the people the chance to speak to you. And as you listen to them, you're going to get so much learning from them. There's a lot of philosophers, one of them particularly, which I can recall, who talk about the importance of listening to people rather than speaking, because we've been given 2 years, but we only have one mouth. And he points to how it is so much more important to listen to people, and it's just magical. So that was the story, and it just feels so much better just being able to share all of what it is that I have to say to YouTube, even though I know that nobody's watching. And I've been live for 8 minutes. I plan to do this until 9. And during this whole thing, I'm going to make it worth your while. I'm going to try and make it worth your while. I'm obviously learning to speak, I'm practicing things, but as I practice and speak things, it is also going to be great if there's someone else who's watching and they can retract any sort of value from what it is that I have to say. I'll discuss my thoughts. I'm more than okay, by the way. Completely okay. I'm so talkative that I'm perfectly fine being able to speak even for 1 hour. This is almost a trait that a maniac would have. I'm more than fine, okay, speaking to myself, because that is practically what this is. It's not like I have any views. So I'm more than okay just talking to myself for an hour. And when there's a maniac like this, you practically cannot compare. Okay, there's no competition. Again, that leaves me in doubt whether I'm going to keep this stream live after it is live. Am I going to keep it in my on my channel, or am I just going to let it go off or make it private or something? I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But I'm just hoping that this is very much audible, because even if it's nothing that nobody else ever watches, it'll be very insightful and useful to me for my future self. If I'm going to be looking back at myself, probably getting in nostalgia like I was this other time. Okay, my light. I'm just going to turn that light off. And that makes, oh my God, no, 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 no. I'll need that light. How can I make this better? There is a way I can make this better. I'm gonna pause my stream for a second, and I'm gonna make the lighting a little bit better. How do I do that? How do I pause the stream? I can mute the stream, but I can't pause the stream. How do you pause the stream? Do you edit and then? Pardon, I'm really sorry if you're gonna have to hear that. Um, okay, I don't know how to pause the stream, so I'm just gonna show you my room. Just be back in a second. Oh shit! I just realized, with that being the okay, no, 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 this lighting isn't good enough. I'm gonna have to change something about the light, right? Okay, maybe I will change something about the light. Just give me a sec. What do you think about this lighting? Is this much better? I reckon this is better. Anyways, so I have my notebook here. I have my notebook and my pen here. So I'm gonna talk about things. I've already talked about several things. Is the mic all okay and working? Yes, yes, the mic should be working ideally. And there's this one thing that I have noticed, that when I'm in front of a camera and I'm performing, so to speak, performing, okay? Okay, okay. I just burped, and I just figured that you can hear my burps very clear with the camera. That is not a good sign. I'm sorry. Anyways, so yeah. So what I was talking about is that when I'm in front of camera, there's this whole performative me, you can say, and for some reason that gives me an accent. It gives me a weird accent, and I will stick to that accent. As soon as I start this particular accent, I will stick to it. Right now, I'm doing this very thick Indian accent, okay? And but when I'm trying to stick to it, I'll change accents. I don't even know what it is. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just love this, by the way. I just love the fact that I can just be online, be live, just speak to more. Oh my God. I don't know why it is that I'm laughing, but I am certainly laughing. Okay, getting very serious. The point is that I basically have no structure of any of this right now. I don't have any idea of what exactly is it that I'm going to speak about, but I'm still speaking, and it's structureless speaking. So this is a very important lesson on freedom, that when there's too much freedom, it can almost be crippling to the point that you will be so paralyzed that you won't really have anything to say or do. Is that sort of freedom really useful? Is that the kind of freedom we want? Isn't that sort of freedom even more paralyzing? What is it that I was saying? Okay, so Just thought, but people have many personalities, and I have noticed that I have way too many personalities. All right, so when I'm in front of people, it by default it will be the case that I'll be performative. Okay, so right now I'm speaking, and I know for a fact that this is something that could be audible, or this is something that others could tune into and watch me doing. So it automatically, by default, makes me feel some kind of way where I'm not being able to be as authentic as I'd like to be. And that is a very important lesson, because even when you go out, when you're speaking in front of people, I don't know if that's the case with you guys, but it is the case with me, that as soon as this a person watching, my behavior will change. And also it will depend on the kind of person watching, and who that person is, and whether it is that I know that person. When it's a certain person, or when it's people you already are aware of and know about, there will be very specific behaviors that come out based on the kind of person that it is that you're speaking for, or that you're speaking or behaving or just being in front of. So it'll be different. The roles that will come out, the personality that will come out will be different based on the kind of people watching, which is very interesting. And it's been something that has affected me for all these years. And what I intended to do as I got on this live stream is productive. So it's been an hour. I've already told my story. I'll be doing this every day, by the way. I'll be coming out here maybe for an hour. I'll be speaking, and I'll just be using English, because my channel right now, the channel that I'm streaming on, my content is in Hindi. It's a mix, it's in English, but used to be in English, the videos that I uploaded, but they are currently in Hindi. But my streams are going to be English, because I want to keep that flow, particularly that I can express myself very comprehensively in both the languages. I don't want to limit any of the language, any of the two of those languages that I already know, and aim to perfect, sort of, so that I can perfectly express my thoughts. Because my thoughts, they're not limiting, they're very vast and open ended. And I believe that in order to perfectly be able to convey them to the masses, I will need nothing short of perfection, in order to really hit the spots. You see, I'll have to eradicate myself of all these fillers, stupid fillers. Okay, and it's going to be an interesting journey, because I know that this is not something that I'm going to be able to stick to and sustain myself purely off of, until I actually have people watching me who actually resonate with me, who find the value in me. However, uh, I've already been done. Okay, I have it written down. I'm already done with my daily quota of. Yeah, so my quota was basically for today. It's that I would be telling a story, which I've already said until now. I've already said a story. I already talked about a story. I'll be making a post. I am, for those who don't know, I write. Okay, and I already have done my post from today, but I will be writing yet again today. I'll be doing it, and oh, okay. So seems that, yeah, yeah, I'll be writing. Basically, I'll be writing, and I mean, I won't be writing. I'm already done writing the post for today, but I'll be posting it. I'll be publishing the thing that I have written for today. I write daily. I write articles on a daily basis, so I'll be posting that today. And I also had a particular task that I needed to do, which was apply for a particular job that I have been looking for, but that's not something that I think I can do on camera. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I will do it. Who knows? Never know. I might just do it, guys. Okay. All right. So I'll be posting that, and other than that, I wanted to learn. I wanted to, and I'm going to help you. This is the most valuable part of the stream. I'm going to talk about the concept of ICP, the ideal customer profile. And this is basically something that's present. It's a fundamental concept in every business. Okay. What is the ICP? The ICP is the ideal customer profile for each and every business that you can even possibly imagine or think of. How does a business work? For business, there needs to be people who will buy and purchase from you. And it's not that you cannot possibly be selling to the entire world. There's 8 billion people in a business. You cannot possibly be selling to 8 billion people. You will have to choose, you will have to break it down, you have to choose your ideal customer profile. What is your ideal customer profile? Your ideal customer profile is pretty self evident from its name. That who is it that you would ideally want this business to offer value to. And this concept is present for every business that you can think of and name of. Let's say for a bakery, what would the ideal customer profile be? That would depend on the kind of bakery that it is. If it's a very traditional, old timed bakery with a specific theme, then their ideal customer profile would be people, maybe old people, because they might connect to that bakery better, considering the fact that they are old and the bakery is old too. I'm sorry, that does not make sense. That was a joke, but you get it. So if it's a more modern bakery, let's say a bakery with cafes. I don't know if they had bakeries with cafes back in the day, but that's, I think, something more of a present concept. And if they would have something like that, they would be targeting younger people. Okay, that's how you can extend this concept infinitely. Okay, and this is what I was learning about from a book called Dot Com Secrets by, who was it by? Dot Com Secrets. Dot Com Secrets. It's from someone Russell. I don't even know his name. It's someone Russell, but you get it. Okay, I'm gonna be reading. And I'm gonna try and explain it as I read. I'm not gonna be telling you. I'm not gonna be reading line by line, mind you, because that'll, for legal reasons. But I'll be trying to explain and condense down things for people who are uh, what is the word for it? For people who are budding entrepreneurs, or for people who are budding businessmen. Okay, as I consider myself to be one. So yesterday, the concept that I learned, before I get to the next part of the book, further part, I'll be talking about the part that I learned yesterday, which was who. Okay, so for your business, what you want to know is who is the ideal customer profile. Who is it that you would love to work with? Who is it that you could imagine would be the perfect suited person for your business, if there would be such a person? Okay, it's like a unicorn concept. Okay, this can apply to a lot of areas of life anyway, but we're talking about from the business perspective, so that's what we'll stick to. And for me, for example, as I'm building this YouTube channel, for me the ideal customer profile would be someone like me, my younger self, that is aged 21, very philosophically inclined and curious, for one. Those are characteristics that you can use to define the person. Okay, your ICP. So for me, it would be the 21-year-old younger me, who was curious. Okay, he was philosophically inclined, so he had questions, he was curious all the time. He believed in taking concepts that we currently believe in and breaking them down, and questioning them. Why is it that we're doing this? Why should we do it? Uh, I was sort of 21-year-old me was sort of rebellious. Okay, that was maybe more younger me, but there was some sort of rebellion still in all my actions, in the sense that I used to question things. I already mentioned that I question things, but I used to question authority specifically. When something was popular, as soon as something gained traction, I used to question that why is this particular thing gaining traction. I used to feel superior. There was a superiority complex that I had. call it superiority complex or call it an inferiority complex, but I certainly had that. So as soon as, I'm pretty sure there's a very particular term for this, but as soon as something gets mainstream, okay, and there'll always be the kind of people who are opposing it. You might call them bitter, you might call them sour grapes, uh, if that's even the right way of calling them, or the right term, but you might call them that. You people who negate, people who give, people who always want to oppose whatever is the flow. Okay, they want to oppose. It's like a rock. There's a river flowing, but there's a rock, and the rock. It's not even like the rock because the rock will just be there and doesn't care. Okay, if the water is passing or not. But these kind of people, okay, these sort of people who want to oppose just to seem cool, they're going to go out of their way to oppose. The rebellion with them is so strong, and that is the kind of person that I was, practically. And very philosophically inclined, curious, rebellious, in terms of fitness, someone who had grand, great dreams of fitness. Okay, I wanted to have the perfect physique, the perfect fitness, and that is something that I always thought was a quintessential of life: to be fit, to do something for your body, because who doesn't do something for their body? And it's lame to not be doing something for your body. So that is the kind of person that I was. I always was fitness inclined, towards fitness, then I was philosophically inclined, then self-improvement came into my life. That is something that I had been having interactions with, starting when I was 18, because I somehow ended up at the library. Okay, I was also always inclined towards reading. That was even earlier than that. Okay, before I turned 18, I was always interested in reading, particularly. And there were some works here and there, fiction and everything, that I had read. But as I turned 18, that's when I first must have come across this self-help book. What was the name of that book? The monk who sold his Ferrari. The monk who sold his Ferrari, I suppose. That was the book. It was a book from Robin Sharma. That was his name. And yeah, that was the first wrestling, call it interaction that I had with self-help. And that really caught my eye, it caught my interest. Okay, and I'm 24 now, but I still am inclined towards that. And it has been quite the journey, and I'm also very philosophically and self-improvement inclined. So that's something that I've always been dealing with since I was 18. uh, what else to do? What else was I doing? Okay, as a 21-year-old, philosophically inclined, fitness enthusiast, very much into fitness, very much into going to the gym, very much into sports. I was interested in football, watching football. That was a 21-year-old me. What are the kind of problems? Let's discuss the problems. This is the juicy part, because this is what you want to hopefully be solving as a business for your customers. So if you have an ICP, what you will focus on, why we talk about the characteristics in the first place, is so that we can help them. And how can we help them better? When you know their characteristics, and when you know their characteristics, you can help them better because you understand their psychology, and you understand sort of the way of thought. So as you understand their way of thought, you understand their characteristics, you're going to be able to break them down. And as I break my specific ICP down, I've told you that they're philosophically inclined, they're self-improvement, very self-improvement based, they are fitness freaks. And let's talk about the problems. So the problems would be, a person like that might or could be very unstable. Now, why is it that I say that? Because when you're into self improvement, when you're into philosophy, these are two of the things that very much coincide, by the way. And when you're into things like this, you're constantly re-evaluating what it is that you believe. You're constantly questioning yourself. And when you're left questioning yourself constantly, you don't know what it is that you can trust. You don't know what it is that you can believe. And naturally something like that takes a lot of energy, okay, from you. So as it takes energy of you, you might even end up insecure because you're constantly looking at different models of thought, different, you're coming across different thoughts. And at that age, at least at my age when I started 18, you might not have a very solid base to stand upon, okay, philosophically, based on the kind of thoughts you've developed. If you haven't had a hard past in particular, which I did not have, very grateful to be able to say that, by the way. So you might not have established an identity. No 18-year-old establishes an identity, by the way. Most don't, okay? So we're talking about the most here. So if you don't establish an identity, you're not going to be able to really have a particular footing to stand on. Everything you stand on can collapse, can shatter. So you're constantly fighting, wrestling your thoughts and questioning yourself, your identities. So that might lead to insecurity, which a lot of these self improvement gurus prey on, by the way. Never fall prey to those, or it might as well. It can be a learning experience. You never know. But the point being that you might end up insecure. An ICP of mine would definitely be prone to being insecure or being taught, at least, like it is self-taught helplessness, or it can even be a guru-induced self, not self, just a guru-induced helplessness. Okay, because it is literally the job of someone who wants to help you to help get your problems out, your insecurities out, and into your conscience. Okay, so you're asking yourself, you're questioning yourself, what is it that am I doing with my life? Am I a failure? Why is it that I feel this way? What is it that I want to do with my life? Is this the kind of life that I want to live? Why am I not perfect yet? Why am I not the best at what it is that I want to do? These are the kind of questions you might face. So for my ICP, the characteristics that we've discussed so far: uh, philosophically inclined, fitness enthusiast. What else was it? Uh, well, okay, I'll just write it down for my who. Okay, first let's talk about it's who. Who who would my ICP be? And I'm basing this off my 21-year-old younger self. I'm currently 24. So philosophically inclined. Okay, philosophically inclined. So they're very curious. They challenge authority. They question. They're rebellious. Fitness freaks. Okay, they like fitness because practically everyone who's into self improvement is into fitness. A lot of them. Okay, keep this in mind. So fitness freaks. Then there'll be, like I said, they might be insecure. Okay, they might be insecure, but that's different because that's more like a personality trait, kind of. It's a, it's a symptom. I don't even know the term for that. But philosophically inclined, fitness freaks, insecure in some sense, they're also very much into knowledge. Okay, knowledge and learning. So they might be intellects. They might be intellects who are over intellectualizing. They might very well at least have that chance of falling into that hole, because that is something that has certainly happened with me. I fell into this hole of over intellectualizing, overthinking, over questioning things, because it can be a pattern at times, and that is what happened with me. So over intellectualizing, this is one of their characteristic traits for my ideal customer profile. Over intellectualization, over intellectualization. Okay, that's some of the characteristic traits. And even based on these four things, okay, there's a million possibilities or combinations that you can make, which in which you can target this ICP, and which you can try and help them and propose a solution for them, because you've been there. You can guide them best because you've already been there yourself, and you've hopefully overcome it, which is why you're trying to teach them or help them get there. Okay, so these are four characteristic traits that I listed. I listed problems. I listed down what they would be interested in. What else? Just think about them in general. Try and picture them. Okay, try and put a picture. You can paste a frame of them, and simply every time you try and sell Every time you try to do business, you're going to have them in mind. Okay, who is it that you're trying to serve? What is it that they would want? How could you provide value to them? So I've listed down the traits. What's next? I've listed down the problems that they. I actually made a content system. I'm going to read off them. Okay, yeah, okay. So I'll read. I'll try and explain that. Oh. So here's the mindset. Let's talk about the mindset a little bit. I've actually talked about the mindset already. Okay, I've already talked about the mindset. Yeah, they're overthinking. They overthink a lot. Like I said, over intellectualization and overthinking, this is an active part that I think just in general in this day and age, a lot of people overthink. We are very much being programmed to overthink. At least the youth, people in the 15 to 25 age brackets, we are very much inclined to overthink. Why? Because there's so much content that's in front of us. We have so much information just available out, easily accessible in front of us. What do you think is going to happen when there's so much available to us in front of us? We're going to have something to say about each and everything, which is very much not necessary, which is very much not important. If I'm a person and you're looking at me or you're trying to grab value from me, I'll have my own viewpoints. I'll have my own experience, and I'll have my own way which I would have dealt with the world and lived the world through. Okay, but it would be my lens. So if you were to ask what is it that I experienced, I would be telling you, but there would be a bias, namely bias that would come by just the very fact that I am me and I will be living my life based on the kind of environment I have been brought up in, based on the kind of people that are around me. And those are all inevitable factors that nobody can ignore. So if I'll be telling you about my life, there'll be an inevitable bias, a self bias, okay? So I'll be telling you things based on how did I get here? How did I? What was I talking about? I was talking about the mindset, and then I talked about overthinking, and then was talking about how people from the age range of 15 to 25 are being bombarded with content, and how that can lead to them having thoughts and having something to say about everything. But when you have something to say about everything, you are really nowhere. You don't stay anywhere. You're forming yourself. You're shattering yourself in a couple thousand pieces. Just imagine this. Okay, you're breaking yourself down in thousand pieces. That's not gonna be good enough. Okay, that's not good. Why is that not good? Because when you're everywhere, you cannot be any certain where. You won't be one at one place. You'll be at everywhere. You'll be trying everything, each and everything, and you'll be getting very shallow level of an experience. Okay, when you're doing something like that, I'm not saying that you don't want to go out and get that experience, but just try and avoid being everywhere or wanting to do everything, because I've been through this exact same thing where I wanted to do everything, but that led me to not be able to specialize in anything. Okay, and that was a very significant hindrance for my life, and a mistake which I learned from, nonetheless, which I'm very proud about. But yeah, you get it. Started. Okay. Uh, so again, coming back to the point that people are being bombarded with information overdose. Okay, there's too much information, and that inevitably leads them to overthink. And because as it leads them to overthink, there is no solution. What is the solution to overthinking? It is action. When you're overthinking so much, when there is so much that is going on in your mind, you must realize that there's this great visualization that I can give you, which I read about somewhere. I don't remember the exact place, but when you're overthinking, when there is so much that you have to think about on your plate, there's this very Great visualization. Imagine being at a mall, okay? There is so much out there at the mall, and you can practically choose what it is that you want to pick. So just know that your mind is basically like, when your mind is giving you thoughts, it's basically like being at a mall. You're going to be bombarded with products that you can use, but you have the option to not choose anything. It's like being at a buffet, maybe even a buffet. Yeah, that's also a visualization that you can have. You're going to be bombarded with food from all directions, but you can choose not to have anything if you're not hungry. If you don't always need to have something. Just because you're at a buffet, you're going to be at a buffet for a very long time, considering that you're going to be in your mind in the same, not the same, but you're going to constantly be encountering situations where there will be so many thoughts. And this is also a trained practice, by the way. This can be dealt with through meditation, okay? Meditation and taking action, these two might seem counterintuitive. How can meditation, something that actually actively encourages inaction, lead to action, much more action? That's something interesting that I would be willing to delve and dive in or maybe discuss, but that's for another time. That's not something that we'll get to right now. But the point being that overthinking is rampant in these days, and overthinking will be one of the character traits for my ICP. Okay, they'll be overthinking and they will not be taking action. They'll be consuming, over consuming content, over consumption of content. There'll be over consumption of shopping, over consumption of all sorts of things, playing sports, doing this. You want to try your hand at everything, specialize at nothing. This is also another very interesting topic about my kind of ICP. Why? Because there's this debate sort of, okay, between the specialized person and the jack of all trades, master of none kind of a person. And what I'll tell you my thoughts on that. It seems very tempting to choose one, but you can never be one thing in life because you're many things, you're a multiplicity. So when you have to choose between two things, the jack of all trades and the master, I mean, the jack of all trades and the master at one thing. Yeah, yeah, correct. Which one is it that you would choose? For me, I would choose, or I currently am the jack of all trades, the person that can do so many things, but does not particularly specialize in one thing. Yes, there are things which I'm maybe even slightly inclined towards the upper denomination, but there's no one particular thing that you can be like, oh, this guy is for known for this. So yeah, that's a great. But the ICP that I am catering towards would be the jack of all trades, master of none kind. Okay, because that's what I am. That's what I used to be. Yeah. So that's one of the other traits. Talking about mindset, right? They're overthinkers. So yeah, these are all things which can overlap. Okay, they're overthinkers. They'll be very self-disciplined. Like they want to, my ICP will want self-discipline. Okay, they will want to discipline themselves because there's so many thoughts that they've been having. They've been overthinking, so they will want for a structure for them. Okay, because they're practically going through too many things all at once, and they won't be able to make a balance out of it on their own. So they will need someone to structure it down for them. Okay, in terms of mindset. Now, fitness, yeah. Now, social confidence, mindful consumption. Okay, okay, yeah, that's pretty much what my ICP would be like. Okay, that I can expand, and I can expand a lot more on this. Okay, I can, I practically have infinite ideas about this, my ICP, because I've lived this life. Okay, but now I'm going to dive deeper, and we're going to move to the topic. Now we know that we, in businesses, we need a who, right? Who, what is a who? A who is our ideal customer, and we want to track, or we want to break down their characteristics and traits. Okay, and and basically how we can help them, because that is what a business provides. Okay,
help or value to their ideal customer profiles. The who. Now the second question or the second point, okay, I'm going to be reading it. So give me a few minutes, maybe this much. Okay, it's a question, all right. So it's a question, so this should take me maybe 2 minutes. And just give me 2 minutes. Be patient, okay? Okay, this I've read this bit, but it's not enough for me to break down yet. It's nothing significant, so I'm going to take some more time and read the next point. Okay, so what got from this part that I've read is that now you have an ICP, and you have hopefully by now decided who your ideal customer profile will be and what are their characteristics. So now you're going to have to figure out what it is that you can provide to them that will resonate with them. Okay, that will help them, and how is it that you will provide that, and in what form or shape will you provide that? Will it be a book? Will it be a lecture? Will it be a course in these days? Will it be a newsletter that they can follow from week to week? Will it be here's something that I will add on to this, that based on my previous knowledge experience about this, is that you want it to be catered specifically towards your ICP, okay, and what sort of value you will provide to them, because and in what shape you will provide to them. Because if your ICP, for my example, my ICP is the kind of person who's very much inclined on improving themselves, who's very much philosophically inclined. And where do you think people like that hang out? Where do you think people like that will find value? They won't find value from the short term gratification things, okay? They'll be, because that was the case with me, okay? You could not just show me some. Oh, was it the case for me? This is a bit of a moment of introspection for me, because is that something that, would I be impressed by short term gratification? Probably not. Would it give me something to think about and really put me in uh, sort of a philosophical existential crisis? Probably yes, because then I'd spend my active energy thinking about that particular short term gratification thing. So okay, I'll read a little bit more and then I'll break it down for you. Okay. Okay, so I'll break it down a little bit. After I drink some water, by the way, I've been speaking for close to 50 minutes now. That's impressive, don't you think? And that also calls for some water. Okay, I'm probably going to end this. I'm not going to go to that 1 hour strength. In 3 minutes, I'm going to end this. I've broken it down to some extent. The rest I'm going to do live probably tomorrow. Okay, so tune in back if you want more of this, okay, and if you liked what you watched, my insane ramblings and my insane ramblings as a I think I'm no, I'm not gonna take the name of that particular thing because I think it might lead or trigger some things in YouTube. But again, so breaking it down, we've talked about ICP and we've talked about breaking down the characteristic traits of our ICP. Okay, and we want our ICP to we basically want to break the characteristics down of our ICP, and then we want to know where what kind of value is it that we can provide them. And since we know our ICP, we need to know what kind of value we can uh, that will attract them. Basically, what kind of value they will fall for. Okay, it will have to be some free service at first, some display of value, so that they can actually analyze. It's like opening a shop and having things on display, okay, for your ICP, specifically catered to your ICP, specifically catered to the kind of audience, is it audience or customers you want to say, is it that you want to attract? Okay, for me, it would be an ebook, okay, because I know I would read an ebook. Younger me would read books, so I would read an ebook. It could be a course because I okay, maybe younger me would not purchase a course, but I would be very much inclined and interested in knowledge and learning. Okay, so would I purchase a course? Probably not. The idea of course to me at that point would seem very scammy. Okay, so I would read books. Okay, I would read book. I would consume free content, so a lot of YouTube content that I can sprinkle over for my ICP, because I know my ICP, the kind that that I can provide value to, are on YouTube, and they are watching and consuming content very actively and doing so very much on a daily basis. That's the kind of content that I can provide them value through YouTube videos, ebooks. What else? Newsletters. I don't think they're reading newsletters because my ICP, I have never read a newsletter. Okay, maybe I do subscribe to some of them, but that's just out of compulsion. It's just because I like to support the kind of people that I'm. That's never. It's I never look at an email newsletter and I think, okay, I'm going to get value from this. That's just not me. Okay, so YouTube videos and ebooks. Okay, courses. Yeah, maybe courses. I'm not sure about, but that is something that my ICP would need. The rest I'm going to break down and continue tomorrow. So tune on to it. Tune into it. Is that the correct word? It was fun. Okay, it was very insightful, and I might even be the first viewer for this myself. I'll be looking back at my own live stream. But that is it for today, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, yeah. Before I go, I'll make it abrupt now. But before I go, I want to add sprinkles of my personality to my YouTube persona. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and be as authentic as I can be. I've noticed that what I am in front of camera does not always resonate completely to what it is that I am in my real life. Okay, because there'll be often times when I'm so emotionally charged that I'll laugh, I'll cry, I'll dance sometimes out of like just happiness. Okay, just delight, joy. But that has not yet happened on YouTube. But I think eventually it will. So, but stay tuned for it. See you in the next one, guys.